What's up, y'all, and welcome back to Country Cast. Today we have a very special guest with us, country newcomer Tyler Braden. Absolutely tearing it up right now. You're closing in on 100 million streams already, and with just one debut EP, so that's really outstanding, man. And you just finished out the American Song Contest, so a lot of good things happening for you, which we'll get to in just a little bit. But thank you for coming on the channel. It's a great honor to have you.
Man, thank y'all for having me. Yeah, it's been a wild few weeks for sure.
Yeah, I bet it has. So we can just jump right into the American Song Contest. It just finished out. You were performing your song 17, which is a fantastic hit, by the way.
I appreciate it.
Very, very great song. If you kind of want to go into that a little bit for the viewer and let them know what the American Song Contest meant for you as a newcomer into the genre, and how 17 came about.
So American Song Contest had a representative from every state and every territory, and I got to represent Tennessee with my song, and that was really cool because Tennessee has such a rich history in music, and Nashville's called Music City, so there's so much music and so much talent everywhere, and to be picked as the person to represent this state was just a huge confidence boost for myself, and just felt so good, and I was so honored to be chosen as that person. And we went on there, we went through 3 rounds, I made it to the finals, and it was such a fun experience. And I used my song called 17. We had about 10 or 12 songs we looked through before the show trying to pick what song, and we landed on this one. And it was kind of cool because we actually pulled this song. It was one of the first 20 to 25 songs I ever wrote, and I wrote it by myself 4 or 5 years ago. And it was really cool for that song to get picked by the team to come out because it was such a, for lack of a better way to put it, it was kind of a stamp of approval to be able to pick a song that I wrote by myself. And I was consistently chosen as the jury pick on the show, which is a jury of industry professionals, record label execs, publishing execs, radio PDs all over the country. And I was chosen almost every round as the top jury pick. And so that was really cool. Another stamp of approval on what I do as a songwriter. It's a really tough industry. But I'm excited that song got out there. I'm excited that so many people got to hear it, and I'm excited to see where it goes.
Yeah, it's, like I said, it's a fantastic song, really nostalgic, for the folks looking back on their years and the 17, and what I find interesting is you said 4 or 5 years ago you wrote that song. You also represented Nashville, but you're from Alabama, correct?
I am. I'm originally from Alabama. Yeah, I've been in Nashville about 6 years, and it's been such a huge impact on my music career. If I wasn't here, I wouldn't have been able to build the team around me that I have, and it's been so phenomenal. I met my wife here, and it's just been so impactful on my life that it meant a lot to represent Tennessee.
And you choosing the song so many years later, your debut EP, What They Don't Know, I believe 17 was not on there, correct?
It was not. My debut EP, What Do They Know, had 7 songs, and I loved it because it was cool to put out my first compilation of songs because it showed who I was as an artist from top to bottom. I mean, it had the slow emotional songs and then my heavier upbeat, because when we do shows, we like to have kind of a roller coaster and build the show around pillars and just have ups and downs and show the emotion in the songs that were written. But no, 17 wasn't a part of it, but we actually cut it before that album because we had plans to put it out eventually, and it just worked out that we chose it to go on the show.
So 17, you put that on American Song Contest, made it to the grand finale round, and like I said, the debut EP is just absolutely killer, man. You've came into country really strong, and closing in on 100 million streams, again, I think that's really important to notice, especially with how quickly you've sort of seen that skyrocket and where you're headed in country music. But one question I have about American Song Contest real quick, how was it performing, in front of Kelly Clarkson and Snoop Dogg and trying to play to the camera? Tell us a little bit about that.
That's definitely a new skill set to have learned, and it's very valuable. And because you're playing to the biggest crowd you've ever played to on national television, and at the same time you're playing to a small room of a couple hundred people, and you're playing to cameras, you're singing to the camera, and which, like I said, is a valuable skill set. Because when you play festivals, there's a lot of country music festivals, and the crowd's really far away. You play to these cameras for the big screens, and so it actually helps to learn that skill set. It was really cool. It was a great experience. Kelly Clarkson and Snoop were awesome. You know, I got to meet those guys, and I got to interview with Kelly one time, and so it was fun. I enjoyed it a lot.
Is there any wild story you can share about maybe a moment you had with Snoop?
No, I didn't get to have a lot of moments with Snoop. My family told me when they were there for the final round, my sister's a big Snoop fan, and he walked by and she wanted to say, "Love you, Snoop," but she said before she could, my dad said, "Hey, dog." He yelled, no, you know,
Hell yeah, man.
he said, "Hey, dog."
That is awesome.
It's great. Yeah.
So,
I missed that moment,
you
but I
know,
was told about it.
that's great, man. And going back a little bit, we kind of started off on the American Song Contest, but I think your background is important. One thing I noticed that was really interesting is you kind of had a late bloom. In 2015, I believe you won a local talent competition, correct?
Yeah, I think it was around then, 14 or 15, something like that.
Is that when you started to really get into music, like right around that time frame out in Alabama, or how did that happen?
Well, previous to that, I'd been in rock cover bands, you know, on and off.
Oh, nice.
And I had done acoustic shows at restaurants around, just small stuff like that. And I did this contest for the local radio station, and it probably had 100, 150 people in it, and it was like 6 or 8 weeks long. And I won that contest, and part of the prize was to come to Nashville. And that was my first time ever coming to town, and I took some friends with me, and I just loved it here from day one. So I knew right away that I wanted to make it here. And so that would have been 2015 because I didn't come until February of 2016. And when I got to come up here, it snowed, so I thought it was going to snow all the time when I moved here, but it's only snowed a couple times. But yeah, it was great. And within 3 or 4 months, actually later, like 4 months later, I was living here and working here and just kind of on my way.
Nice. And so in that local talent show, what did you do? Like, did you cover a song? What'd you do?
No, it was kind of like an American Idol style thing. Like every week was a different song. You kind of sing it karaoke style-ish, unless you wanted to just go solo acoustic, which I did a couple rounds. And every round also had kind of a theme. Like one time you had to play a song from like the decade of your birth, or from the 80s, or it was a decade specific challenge, and I did the Pina Colada song, and so that was interesting round.
Nice.
One time I had to do a female song, and I did a Katy Perry song, and I can't remember which song it was, but I played Katy Perry, and so it was kind of cool. It switched it up every round, but it was fun.
Yeah, I think also in your music you can definitely hear that maybe you have a few influences from, your musical past, because you have such a great vocal range as far as, toning it down, or like the chorus of Try Losing One on your debut EP, like you can really tell that your vocal range, obviously you can go from down to up, but you have more of like a soulful sound to you. You can tell that there's a lot more there than just country, and I think that's great, man. Like
awesome.
Your ability is outstanding. Yeah, absolutely.
Definitely listened to a lot of different types of music through my life. My parents listened to country. My sister was big into hip hop, R&B, so I've listened to a lot. And I was in a rock cover band, so all of that has kind of come into influence the live show and the way that I write and the way that I perform, for sure.
The rock cover bands, what were you just singing, or were you playing an instrument?
I was just singing. I think I played a little bit, but 90% of the time I was just singing.
Okay. What was your favorite rock cover song to do?
Oh, that's a tough one. I used to love doing multiple Foo Fighters songs. We did a song by a band called 10 Years, and I can't think of which song that was, but it was one of my favorites. I just remember it had kind of this high range, and Breaking Benjamin stuff was really fun back in the day, and a lot of it. So.
That's pretty cool, man. A rock cover band. How long were you doing that?
I would say off and on for 3 or 4 years, playing around just middle Alabama kind of bars and things like that.
So what made you make the jump to country if kind of rock was your wheelhouse for so long?
Well, country was what I always kind of came back to. At any rehearsal or any show, if I got in the truck afterwards, I was listening to country. I mean, my parents always listened to country, and I grew up on it. And when I did solo acoustic shows, it was probably 70% country or more. And So that's what I'd always come back to. It wasn't a late thing by any means. I just did the rock band
Right.
because that's what my friends did, and they got me into it. And so it was kind of cool to be able to branch out and just kind of have experience in different types of music for sure.
Cool. And also, you did the competition, and like you said, you grew up listening to country music and stuff. I also found it interesting that you come from a family of entertainers. Were you raised in the environment of performing, or was it solely music, or was it acting, or what was that?
No, I was definitely raised around performing. My parents sang a lot. My mom and my dad both sang at, local events and local parties, private parties, local venues and things like that as I grew up. And they worked all around the country. And while they'd be out in these other states working, they would perform out there just because they'd make friends and kind of do that. So I grew up going to bars and things like that when I was little while they would set up and then have to leave, before it got too late. But, so I've definitely been around it my entire life. My aunts and uncles all sing, or most of them do. But yeah, so I've definitely seen it from day one.
Man, you have definitely the versatile background in music. And again, you can hear it on your debut EP. What would you say about your debut EP to folks that really represents Tyler Braden on that album?
Man, I think as a whole, that's what I loved about it so much, to finally get to put something out where I could hear different people's favorite song and just what people kind of move to and how they react to different songs and what they choose as their favorite. But it's kind of as a whole, it represents me from top to bottom, because we did the slow emotional songs in Try Losing One and What I See, and then also the upbeat songs with Better Off and Ways to Miss You and She Don't Care. And
Ways to Miss You is a banger, folks. That is probably one of my favorite songs on the record, man.
Man, I appreciate
Such a great
that.
song.
And then the title track, What Do They Know, is a very true to my story kind of song. So that really fit well for the journey and music itself. And it was a perfect song to be the title track of a debut EP. So it kind of shows who I am as an artist and as a writer from top to bottom.
Yeah, and you even had mentioned before 17 you wrote by yourself, correct?
I did, yeah.
Okay. And, in country music, I've talked about this before in interviews. Actually, shout out to Warren Ziders. We were doing an interview not too long ago, and we were talking about lyrics in country music and songwriting. And I think that is an important art and an important piece of country music. And clearly you have the ability to do that. Do you try to write more on your own, or do you like to have co-writers and do writing rooms and stuff like that? Or how do you prefer to do that?
I enjoy writing both ways. I enjoy starting songs alone and finish them with co-writers, but I've gotten, in the last year, I've tried to get back into writing more by myself because I didn't want the co-writing scene or having co-writers to be like a safety blanket. But I've written a lot of songs by myself that I've put out. Little Red Wine, Leave Me Alone, some early songs, I wrote those by myself. Secret off the debut EP, I wrote that by myself. And so I still write by myself, and we still put songs out that I wrote by myself. And so I like to do both, and it just depends on what the song needs, really. Because in the end, that's what's most important, is the song itself. And so, even outside cuts, I'm always open to those, but just kind of keeping everything kind of open-minded is what's most important.
Absolutely. So what would you tell the country music fans who are maybe newer to your music, what they can expect from Tyler Braden down the road, or where you plan on taking your music in the future for country?
Man, we're just trying to get out there and perform a lot of shows and try to get all over the country and see people. So if you can come to a show, we try to make it emotional, and it's like being at a rock show, but it has the emotional ups and downs and the melodical ups and downs, and we try to build the show around pillars. And that's my favorite part of this whole thing, is the live performance, because that's where you connect with fans the most anyways. And so I love to get out there and meet people and try to get out to the merch booth and talk and everything. But we're definitely trying to put out more music this year. And we're going to be on the road headlining some and at some festivals, and we're doing some shows with Brooks and Dunn. And so we've got a lot going on this year.
Yeah, a lot going on. Speaking of live stuff, we can get into that if you don't mind. Are you planning on doing any solo tour? Because, well, first let's talk about Brooks and Dunn. You're going on their reboot tour on special dates, right?
Right.
Have you spoke to Ronnie or Kix at all since this announcement has been made?
I have not. We've been so busy. It'd be great to get to meet those guys, but I know they're super busy and everything.
Yeah,
But yeah, we got a weekend with them. We'll be playing Savannah, Georgia, Greenville, South Carolina, I believe, and Nashville, Tennessee at Bridgestone. So we're really excited about playing Bridgestone for the first time here. And but that'll be the one weekend we play with those guys, and we are doing a lot of solo stuff like headlining gigs. We're leaving. I actually leave as soon as I get off of this. I'm gonna pack and leave in about half an hour to go to Texas.
Oh,
we're playing a few shows out in Texas, and
nice.
But yeah, I mean we've got shows coming up in California, South Carolina, Georgia, Florida, a bunch of stuff coming up this year.
Yeah, it's going to be a huge year. And festival. Do you know which festivals you might be involved with already, or that schedule hasn't came out?
Yeah, we're playing Faster Horses. We're playing Country Thunder, Wisconsin. Like we just played Country Thunder, Arizona. We're playing Watershed in Washington, Tidal Wave in New Jersey. We're playing a bunch of them. I don't remember all of them off the top of my head. I'd have to look at a schedule, but yeah, we're playing a lot.
Nice. Yeah, that's great, man. And last night I had seen that you posted about a VIP experience that fans can have.
Yeah.
I thought that was really cool that you were opening doors early to kind of give a more intimate setting to the fans who come to the shows. What can they expect in that?
Man, we're super excited to do that because I've never offered an experience like that. And so it's going to come with some things to take home, like an autographed commemorative laminate. And we're also going to do a little challenge coin, which is what I used to get in the fire service for different accolades there. We would get little challenge coins. And so we wanted to make one to kind of commemorate that and my past and what I've been through in my life. And we're also going to have, meet and greets where we hang out, take pictures. And then the early access, as you said, is going to be available at some venues, not all, but select venues where they can come in early and hang out and kind of get to look at merch with no line. And it's going to be cool because, like I said, we've never done this type of offer so far, and we're getting it at more and more shows, so we're excited.
Yeah, that's a really cool experience, man. Is that something that you think that might happen again in the future, like maybe on another tour, or is this like a one-time deal? I just think it stands out, incredible for the fan to be able to experience that. So I didn't know if that was something you plan to do continuously.
It's going to be a continuous thing. I mean, it'll change and we'll offer different things, as time goes on, but it's definitely going to be we won't be able to do it at everything. We can't do it at all the festivals and when we're not the headliner, just different things like that. That's why we say select venues, but we'll do it as often as we can and we'll definitely have it. I mean, I would hope from now on, and like I said, it will change and there'll be different things we offer, but as for now, this is how it's going to go and we're really excited to get it started.
Cool, man. And still, while we're on the topic of touring, you were with Brantley Gilbert for a while, weren't you?
Yeah, at the end of last year, we got to go on our first arena run. We did a handful of shows with Brantley on the West Coast and across through Washington and North Dakota, South Dakota. And that was an awesome experience, minus it being freezing cold everywhere we went, it seemed like. But it was really great. I mean, Brantley and his crew were phenomenal, and we made so many great friends and such a great experience. And I hope we get to go out with him again one day because, like I said, their crew was amazing and Brantley's amazing. And so it was definitely the best that our debut arena tour could have gone. I mean, I couldn't imagine it going any better.
Nice. Was there anything that you can, what is the craziest moment being on tour with Brantley? Is there anything that sticks out in your mind?
I mean, Brantley and them are crazy. I'm more reserved, and Brantley's crazy. And on the last show, there's always kind of end of tour pranks. It's kind of a normal thing, and they came out to my song "Little Red Wine," had his whole crew come on the stage, bringing a high top table and two high top chairs with candles and flowers, and lit them all up, and had wine, and brought my wife. At the time, my soon-to-be wife, she had brought my wife out on the stage and sat her down and had a little short mic stand on the table and made me sing Little Red Wine to her on the stage at it looked like a kind of a private dinner looking situation. But yeah,
that's
brought
hilarious.
20 people on stage. Yeah.
Even though you're a performer and you do it all the time, was that awkward to you at all, just being put in that situation?
No. It was fun. Awkward is definitely the word for it. I mean, it was shocking and it was fun, but we made the best of it. And I got Marissa up, my wife, and I spun her around, and it was really cool. It was pretty funny, and it definitely caught me off guard, but I think we made the best of it.
That's a good memory to have, though, especially going out on an arena tour on your first run and then having something like that happen. Brantley Gilbert's that dude is a heck of a performer, a great artist. So that's a great memory, man. That's a really cool story to have. Awesome. We talked a little bit about you being from Alabama, getting into country music and stuff. And then when you moved to Nashville, one thing that's really interesting is you were a firefighter for a while.
Yeah.
So when you were at the Firehouse, or were you singing there and stuff like that? I know that was kind of your like backup role as far as, making your income and things meet while you were getting your feet wet and stuff. But did you ever sing at the Firehouse or practice over there?
Not really. I kind of kept that separate. I mean, I had so much off time. I mean, it kind of worked out to be the perfect schedule. So while I was there, I was 100% there. And while I was away, I was 100% in the music industry and going towards this dream. And so I tried to keep that a good separation. And I think that helped with, obviously I wanted to do music full time. And if I'd have kept my mind on music while I was at the station, it would have made it that much harder to wait and be patient. So I kept it 100% there and then 100% away when I was gone, and I think that was the best way I could have gone about it.
Yeah. Thank you for your service, by the way.
Appreciate it, man.
First responders out there have it rough, and for you to be able to do the music industry while you were in the fire department, that's a lot to ask of somebody, really. But you were able to do it, and here you are, just absolutely crushing it, and I think that's outstanding. And you're still connected to the first responders in a way because you do a golf charity or golf tournament benefit for the first responders and firefighters, correct?
Right. This October will be the second annual and Engine Company 18, and all the proceeds for that go to National Fallen Firefighters. And then we also have a young lady out of North Carolina started a program called Hungry Heroes, and she'll show up on the scene at things around the country and feed first responders on the scene at big events. And so she came to the first one, and she'll be at this one, and where she'll feed everyone there at the tournament, and they make amazing food. And so a lot of the proceeds go to them as well. And we have different brands. Last year we had a PXG guy out there allowing people to hit clubs and talk to him about their clubs. And then we had different giveaways, and we had a lot of fun, challenges on each hole. One of the holes you put on a turnout coat and try to hit a par 3 for your first time wearing a turnout coat for most people. And so it's been really fun, and I'm excited to see how year 2 goes. I mean, you can get teams now, and we've got a page on Instagram called Engine Co 18. And you can get your teams now, so we're super excited for sure.
How far did you get in the fire department?
I was in the service for 7 years total. In Montgomery, Alabama, I was a firefighter for 4 years. And then when I came to Brentwood, I started as a firefighter and moved up to fire engineer. And I wasn't a fire engineer long before I kind of had my break in music and got my publishing deal. But, it was really cool to get to go to 2 very different departments, and it made me who I am for sure. And if I wouldn't have had that side of my life, that part of my life and that career, it would make this career much harder. It helps keep you level-headed, and the ups and downs kind of match that of the fire service. And so I was kind of more prepared than I would have been if I came in really young.
You have a really great backstory, man, and you can see the drive there in your music and in your lyrics, and the way you connect with fans is on a whole nother level. It's great to see that. Just a few more questions before we get you out of here. I know you got a busy schedule ahead of you. But with 17 coming out, you going to the American Song Contest, making it all the way to the grand finale, absolutely crushed that. Is there an album on the way?
We haven't made solid plans, but that's definitely the hope for within the next year. I would hope, and we've got a lot of new music ready, a lot of new music written. Some recorded, some not yet, that we've got to choose from. Like I said, we had a lot of songs we were choosing from that weren't released yet before going on the show.
Right.
And so, all of that will go into the process of coming out with a new album, and hopefully that'll come sooner rather than later. But I'm definitely excited to get one out for sure.
And, just to see your influences, because as I mentioned earlier, your music ranges from so many different genres, and you can hear it in your voice and your style, your vocal ability. What influences would you say from rock, country, and hip-hop are your biggest influences?
All right, so it'd be really hard to pick the 3 biggest, obviously, but my favorite band of all time is the Foo Fighters, so the Foo Fighters would definitely be a huge influence. Country music, there's so many, but it's been, Eric Church is a really big one. It's hard not to pick Luke Combs or Brothers Osborne, some of these people that have done what they want to do and stuck with who they are as an artist. Hardy is, is another big one as for a new artist. Hip hop, I've always told my management that a really cool crossover one day would be John Bellion. He's a really big hip hop producer, and he's one of my favorites, and I listen to his stuff all the time. And the people he's produced, Lawrence is a duo that John Bellion has produced, and they're a brother-sister duo that are phenomenal. And so it'd be really cool to any of those. They're all big influences, and they're all phenomenal in their lane, and what they do is just amazing.
Man, I can't wait to see what the future holds for you, man. Thank you so much for joining us here today on CountryCast. I greatly appreciate you taking your time and coming on here is an absolute honor. But for those of you looking to hear some new country, if you haven't yet, Tyler Braden is his name, folks. What Do They Know is his debut EP. 17 is an outstanding song, and this man's going to be crushing it for years. And like I said, can't wait to see what we got in the future for you, man.
Man, thank you so much. Thank y'all for having me for sure.
Thank you.
Awesome.